Stainless steel is sheet metal, but sheet metal is not necessarily stainless steel. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Oh, Loho. Oh, Jeffy's sick again. What the hell?
Yeah, I told you yesterday. He said he had corona.
You think so? You think so?
You think?
You think?
He said he had corona.
Well, hello, Brenda. All righty. Yeah, I feel like I'm moving through Jello.
Yep. Same here.
That it's weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
Weird. Sale of two tickets. I mean, a tale of two cities. Let's see. And Paul and Lisa, and Paul and Lisa. Carrie. Okay, how? Oh, I was gonna say, how does it know what? Oh man, there's the brain fog. I'm looking at the closed caption on the Facebook. I'm going, how does it know what I'm saying? I have it muted. Wow.
Come on, dude.
I'm telling you, this is the weirdest. Wow, and why?
That was my
I'm
mom's.
so uncomfortable right now.
Rocky. 8 p.m. Eastern.
No more than me.
5-0.
Holy crap.
Mojo 5-0. The question isn't who's going to let us. The question is who's going to stop us. Adjust your mojo now. Thank you. The mothership has landed. Brad Staggs. A mighty Mojo 5-0.
All right, so just when you think things can't get any weirder, sitting there on the couch in the lobby of the Desert Air Motel last night, something on the television, can't remember what it was, but it was just around 6 o'clock, and the door opens, front door opens. And in steps a older guy, I don't know, 60s, whatever.
Wait a minute. Didn't this happen before?
Yes.
Was it the same guy?
I don't know. I could have been. He was only one of them this time. Last time this happened, it was in the middle of the day, if you'll recall. I was, again, sitting on my lazy ass on the couch in the front room of the Desert Air Motel Convention
Do you
Center.
not lock your door?
No, I mean, not all the time. The thing locks automatically, but sometimes it just, whatever. So guy walks, and it's one of those where you realize it's that surreal feeling when you look over and you realize, all right, somebody just walked in. I have no idea who this person is. And look up, can I help you? And the guy looks up, he's, hi. It's that awkward moment where you realize, I don't know you, you don't know me. He gives the address. It's like he's got the address real close. It's like, nope, that's not it. All righty, turns around, walks back out the door and shuts it. Second time this has
Walked
happened.
his ass in the house.
That is
How about, what the hell happened to knock on the door?
That's a good question. Apparently, I started thinking maybe it was the same guy. Maybe it was because last night it was an older family. It was.
Are they drunk or what?
Could have been high on meth. I don't know.
Jeez.
But well, if you want to be safe, you got to lock your door. Look, if somebody wants to come in, they'll come busting through your front door. I don't care what sort of lock you have on it. So it's just one of those. It's like, and then on top of that, you're sitting there and I've still got this brain fog that has been sticking with me. I think now for 50 years.
Yeah.
But it just all of this just combines in your head to create this surreal experience. And then here we are. Here we are once again. And Ron, you are, how are you feeling?
Like crap, but I'm making it. I feel like I'm like you, kind of in the jello fog, whatever.
It's weird, isn't it? I don't know if do they call this long haul? What is this? What do we have? What is it that we?
I have no idea.
What is it that we have? And just as a social experiment, you have one person who's been jabbed, and one person who hasn't, and yet still experiencing the same kind of crap. So I don't know what the hell it is. I don't.
Part of my deal is I'm fat, out of
so
shape.
am I.
But I'm the one that's been jabbed, so I don't know how much of that is this. Now,
Right.
I have heard that a great majority of people who have gotten the vaccine complain of fatigue a lot.
Really?
Yes.
So, do you feel fatigued?
All the time. All the time. And it's been that way for a couple of months. Now, I have good days, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, I feel fatigued all the time now. And I'm not doing anything. Maybe, I don't know. It could be that, after the Christmas rush, because I don't remember feeling that way during the Christmas rush.
I don't remember the Christmas rush.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about from Romika's side.
Right.
But there were days I'd still get up and still have trouble getting it going. But yesterday was a really bad day for me. I didn't feel well at all.
But you're 6 feet above ground.
I am still.
As am I. So the latest out there from the CDC. How does anybody trust anything anybody says anymore? I have no clue. This was Walensky yesterday on, I guess she was on Good Morning America.
And joining us this morning is the director of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. Dr. Walensky, I want to dive right in. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. Your agency, is facing a lot of criticism over these new guidelines over isolation and not requiring a 5-day test to get out of those isolations. The American Medical Association is going as far as saying they're not only confusing, but they risk spreading this virus even further.
I hate it when mommy and daddy fight. Yeah, man, the CDC and the NIH, they're all at each other's throats now.
Are they wrong?
Let me just clarify and say isolation, we talk about isolation in the context of people who've had a positive test, who know that they are infected. And we have now dozens of studies referenced on the CDC website that have demonstrated that you are most infectious in the 1 to 2 days before your symptoms and the 2 to 3 days after your symptoms. So by 5 days after your symptoms, the vast majority of your contagiousness is really behind you. And what we say at day 5 then is, are your symptoms gone? Are you feeling better? Is your cough gone? Sore throat gone? And if so, then it is safe to go out if you are wearing a mask all the time. And
wait a minute. If you're wearing a mask all the time, I thought that the Dr. Leanna Wen said that the masks aren't doing any good. So
who knows?
I mean, at some point, you just sit up and you go, what the hell are we doing? What the actual F is happening around us?
Nobody knows the answer to the question. What is the question? Nobody knows
Nobody
the question.
even knows the question anymore. Austria has now they're making skiers wear face masks outdoors. If you're skiing in Austria, you have to wear a face mask outdoors. From Saturday onward, face masks must be worn outdoors when social distancing of the 2 meters, blah, blah, blah. This will affect Austrian ski resorts where social distancing of this sort is difficult.
Don't you wear a ski mask most of the time?
I was going to say, you're wearing a either one of those baklava.
Yeah, balaclava.
Yeah, the baklava thing. The almonds all over him. The rule changes are in response to a surge in Omicron cases reported on Thursday in Austria. They will also begin deactivating the validity of COVID passes after 6 months in an effort to force everyone to get the booster shot. So now with the COVID, you've got
Wait a minute. Deactivating?
Yep. Isn't that interesting?
So before long, just being vaccinated won't be good enough.
Right. Yes. That's the gist of it. The so-called green passes will expire following a person's last dose from February, with this period having been reduced from 9 months. The announcement was made days after people who have had only one dose of the vaccine lost all of their green pass privileges. I'm surprised they even, at the beginning of this thing, when they were talking about the vaccine passports, that they even put them out on paper. Why did they even bother doing that? And will those things be worth anything going forward?
I don't know, but they had multiple lines on them.
Yeah, they did. Where you could, it was obvious, okay, well, they're going to be doing something in the future because there's several blanks here that could be filled out. But will those be legit? Will those be recognized as authentic or official in the near future? Or will you have to have the electronic version that'll be on your phone or, in your arm? Because they haven't given up on those. Anybody who thinks that those things have gone the way of the dustbin of history, nope, that's still, it's out there. The Austrian government is hiring people to hunt down vaccine refusers in advance of a mandatory vaccination law, which takes effect in February. I mean, this is draconian, right? This is horrible. This would never happen here, except for the fact that yesterday the mandate did go into effect here. The OSHA thing. It's officially in effect.
Is it though?
Yeah.
I thought it was stayed.
Is it?
Well, let me see.
According to the Epoch Times, much of Biden's vaccine mandate for large private employers takes effect despite ongoing Supreme Court battle.
Oh, yeah.
Pertaining to much of the Biden's mandate pertaining to large private employers went into effect yesterday, despite the rule facing legal challenges in the Supreme Court, leaving some businesses unsure as to how to proceed. As of January 10th, businesses with 100 or more employees were required to ensure that all employees have been fully vaccinated with either 2 doses of the Pfizer or Moderna or 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson's, and they must provide paid leave to workers to get the vaccine. Again, according to the Epoch Times. Businesses included in the mandate must also keep track of workers' vaccination status via a database, provide employees with their company's vaccine policy and procedures, and ensure unvaccinated employees wear a mask while indoors. Even though, remember, the mask doesn't do shit.
True.
According to the experts.
Now, OSHA has a problem with this for right now, but OSHA said they won't even find people till after February the 9th.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
I trust them. The rule, which was enforced by OSHA, applies to some 84 million U.S. workers. Businesses that are not compliant face fines of up to $14,000 per violation. As Ron just said, OSHA says it will not issue penalties for noncompliance until February 9th, which is the same deadline by which businesses must implement the weekly COVID-19 testing alternative for unvaccinated employees. What is the testing? Just being able to test each week, even though the tests have proven something less than reliable.
Correct.
This is the craziest. We're balancing. It's like a plate balancing contest on those little spinny things. We got plates balancing everywhere. They're spinning out of control, and they're all about to fall down. The Supreme Court has yet to make a final decision. And as we heard, Sonia Sotomayor, one of our esteemed Supreme Court justices, just yammering yesterday about stuff that wasn't true. Putting out medical misinformation. Oh, I'm sure she'll be, somebody will talk to her somewhere, right? Who talks to the Supreme Court when they start yammering horse shit?
It's a good question. I don't know.
And do they have somebody that you can't say that? Listen, Your Highness, Your Honor, whatever. You can't be throwing out medical misinformation like that. You're gonna freak people out. The Supreme Court yet to make a final decision on the rule, which is currently subject to legal challenges from a number of business groups, along with the states of Ohio, Missouri, Louisiana, and more. They are challenging the lawfulness of the president's vaccine mandate. So it is technically, I guess, in effect. But we'll see what the Supreme Court does. But in the meantime, you still got to go to work, right? You still got to you follow along with the rules. You do what you're supposed to do. But life isn't getting any. It's not getting any easier, is it? Sorry, didn't hit that button soon enough. I'm telling you this. It's just. I'm starting to, and I've been checking my pulse. What is it? Pulse ox?
Pulse ox?
I keep thinking of pull socks, like you pull your socks on.
Yeah.
And my oxygen is way up there. It's like 97. So that's not it. Maybe that's why I feel lightheaded. Maybe I'm getting so much oxygen now that I'm high.
That it's out of the ordinary.
I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe my blood oxygen level has been so low for so long that now that I'm getting the right amount of oxygen, I'm like stoned on oxygen. You know what they say? Love is like oxygen.
Oh, they say that, do they?
They do. Get too much, you get too high. Not enough, you're going to die. You've never heard the song, have you, Ron?
Yeah, I guess not. Was it Boston?
Wow. Good for you. Good for you. Use the hashtag, what I learned today, to get in touch with the program here. I swear every day I get up, I'm not sure my voice is going to make it through through 2 hours, but we'll see. Pure Beaver, I cannot believe this ridiculous mandate. Take his jab. That doesn't protect from a cold with a 99.67% survival rate. None of this makes any sense. And the further we get into it, the less it makes sense. And I'm not sure it's a conspiracy anymore so much it is just the full display of the ineptitude of government like we've never seen before. This is such Keystone Cop stuff running around, the CDC saying one thing, the AMA coming out, no, wait, you can't do that. You've got the Supreme Court out there just saying shit. Is it not weird? I mean,
dude, we live in weird times right now.
I know, but it just seems so much weirder for some reason.
I thought the 2000s, like the 2010s, were weird.
Right. And it just keeps getting weirder. Rebel Patriot says, is 57 too young for early retirement? No. And remember yesterday talking, or the piece they did on 60 Minutes about people retiring.
Yeah.
A lot of people, young people retiring going, you know what? I've had it. I'm done. Stop the train. I want to get off. And Stinky Biscuit, you're right. But we'll tell Ron that it was Boston.
Yeah.
God Guitars and Guns. That's correct. The company I work for just sent out an email outlining all our vax or testing requirements. Everyone has to be fully vaxxed or do weekly tests by February 9th. It's insane. It makes no sense. The whole testing thing is absolutely asinine. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you have to, let's say you work at a corporation that, requires you to get tested weekly if you're not vaccinated, and you are required to turn in said test by Monday morning so that they can determine whether or not, you're diseased. So you go on a Friday, you get your test. It takes them, 24 hours, sometimes a little longer to turn that around. You get the results. You turn that in. You go to work on Monday morning, even though you've turned in the results of the test. It doesn't mean that there's been 24, 48 hours, 36 hours, whatever, between the time you took the test and the time you're going to work. You could have gone out and swum around in a big vat of Rona.
You could have.
Just smeared it all over yourself so that by the time you go to work on Monday morning, you are so contagious, it's not even funny. We just heard the director of the CDC saying, well, you're most contagious the 2 days before, you're
Before
shedding
your symptoms.
Right. So the test is absolutely meaningless from Friday. All it is it's busy work and it is control, because it makes no sense in any logical form whatsoever. If it made, I think that's what really pisses people off, is that if it made any sense whatsoever, it'd be one thing. But they're not thinking this through. Postal Pete says, I repeat, weekly testing is useless. I went from a negative test to sick to recovered in 6 days. And
There you go.
And again, my experience was, I felt, I started getting the the tickle, which I still think was from cedar fever on the Wednesday, and felt fine other than the cough. But then the positive COVID nose test thingy on a Sunday, I still felt okay. And then for the next week, that's when it just kind of went blah. And then I go into the hospital, and they never test me for COVID in the hospital. Not once. A week later, they never test me. But then they keep trying to shove remdesivir up my butt.
Mm-hmm.
It just, none of this makes any sense. Well, the remdesivir does make sense because, holy crap, that stuff is expensive. And you have to take 5 doses of it.
Really?
Over the course of 5 days.
Is it an IV? Is it?
Yeah. I think it takes 30 minutes each IV. So, and I mean, it's thousands of dollars. So it's like literally you're sitting there in the bed in the hospital, and it's like the pitchmen come in. Hey, you want remdesivir? It's great stuff. Shouldn't you test me for COVID first? Nah. Just take some. All the cool kids are doing it. This is such a weird. And is it really just all about the money? Because if it is, I'm disappointed. I mean, can't there be a little population control in this thing? Can't there be some Bill Gates, trying to get the numbers of the world down? Does it all have to just be about profit? I mean, in the end, is that what the investigation will show? Yeah, just about money. That's all it was. Son of a. That's not nearly as intriguing as population control, is it, Ron?
No, but DM posted all of this happened with private businesses because the federal government and state governments back in 2020 refused the position that individuals are responsible for their own health.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. The whole thing is nuttier than squirrel shit. See what I did there?
I see.
Speaking of private businesses, Romika, we were behind the scenes this morning before the program discussing things that are going to be featured at RomikaDesigns.com coming up shortly. And Ron, would you like to, do you want to give them a hint?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. My wife sent me a whole list of dog tags that we're going to be cutting. And
why dog tags, just out of curiosity? I mean,
just because it's something that we can do pretty quick on the fiber laser. But yeah, so let's see, what were some of the sayings on the dog tags? Lost AF, call my mom, she's ugly crying. Oh shit, I'm lost. I escaped. Wahahaha. I'm an asshole and ran away. So we've got quite a few, but those will be available hopefully before the end of the week on the site.
All right.
Yeah.
That'll be RomikaDesigns.com. You want dog tags for and they're not just for dogs, right? I mean,
well, you can wear them if you want.
Put them on a cat.
Yeah, you can.
Good luck keeping them on a cat.
Why we can't have nice things? That would be a cat. Bones before bitches. Yeah.
There was a kill zone in the lobby of the motel this morning too.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
It was. I don't know what the hell it was, but something's dead. All right. So RomikaDesigns.com is the website. Get yours today before they are all gone, which could happen at any moment. Oh, look. with Gears, formerly World of Spots, and boy is he happy.
Once a year we celebrate, we're stupid hats and plastic plates. The fact that you were able to make another trip around the sun. Woo. And the whole clan gathers round and gifts and laughter do abound. And we let out a joyful sound and sing that stupid song. Happy birthday! Now you're 1 year older.
Are you?
Happy birthday! Your life still isn't over. Happy birthday! You did not accomplish much, but you didn't die this year. I guess that's good enough.
That is an accomplishment because, well, Betty White.
So let's drink to your fading health and hope you don't remind yourself your chance of finding fame and wealth decrease with every year. Does it feel like you're doing laps and eating food and taking naps and hoping that someday perhaps your life will hold some cheer? Happy birthday! What have you done that matters? Right? Happy birthday! You're starting to get fatter. Happy birthday! It's downhill from now on. Try not to remind yourself your best years are all gone.
If cryogenics were all free, then you could live like Walt Disney and live for all eternity inside a block of ice. But instead your time is set, this is the only life you get. And though it hasn't ended yet, sometimes you wish it might. Happy birthday! You wish you had more money.
I do.
Happy birthday! Your life's so sad it's funny. Happy birthday! How much more can you take? But your friends are hungry, so just cut the stupid cake. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Ralph Cramden.
Gears.
The Daily Mojo.
Big fan of the song, and you know that's what we do here. We make people happy.
We make people happy.
We make people happy. Even the gay
insurance.
baboons. Huh?
Yeah, I saw that. Insurance has to start paying for COVID tests now. Your insurance?
They do?
Yeah. When did that happen? That was on the news this morning. Health insurance has to pay for home COVID tests starting this week. So, yep, your insurance is going up.
So the federal government has mandated that the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. No, what if you're on like the government insurance? So it's government going to pay for it anyway.
I'm sure that's it. Yeah.
See, I'm pretty sure that the government is going to pay for the testing regardless, because they want the information. And that was one of the testing sites told Beth that at one point. They said even if your insurance doesn't cover it, said the federal government will cover it because they want the data. So regardless, yeah, somebody's going to be paying for it.
Interesting.
Gay baboons next.
Happily promoting the 4 Fs.
Clear.
Can that be real?
Yeah, that commercial needs to come down.
She said that last time.
So, well, she's going to replace it, but she hasn't done that yet. Happy birthday. Man.
No. That's a baboon, not a baboon.
The Knights Who Say Knee obviously doesn't listen.
What'd he say?
Ron Phillips, you're playing Damn It Beavers contest promo again. He may just be listening on iHeart. Yes, we are replacing it, she says.
That was terrible. Holy shit, really? I hit that button like 10 minutes ago.
The Daily Mojo.
I see DMXDM on the Twitters here using the hashtag what I learned today. You wouldn't believe the payout private clinics receive from the government for running free COVID tests. Oh, yeah, I would. Yep. As a matter of fact, I also, all of the different fees and things that they can charge, the hospitals can charge because a COVID patient, I mean, they give more money for you if you test positive for COVID, which again, I think is weird because I was never tested for COVID in the hospital. They looked at my lungs and went, "Oh yeah, well you got some schmeg in there, and that's probably." And even Dr. X-ray said, "Yeah, that's what COVID lung looks like or whatever." So it's likely that you had it. My point being, I was never tested for it. I'm not saying I didn't have it, probably did. But they never tested me for it, and yet they were still trying to ram remdesivir down my throat. They also said I had sepsis.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how the issues, it says issues resolved during your hospitalization. Sepsis. Isn't that what is? Would you have to be pregnant to have sepsis?
I don't know.
And chest pain at rest. I didn't have chest pain. I did not. So, yeah, the issues resolved during my hospital. Chest pain at rest. Well, that's because I came in without any chest pain.
Chest pain at rest.
Yeah. So, still, I think this little tickle that I've got is a combination of dry air. Did you look for a humidifier, by the way, Ron?
Yeah, we had one.
You had one?
No, she had one.
You went out and bought one?
No, she had one, but it's just a single room size.
Oh.
So we use it in the bedroom now at night.
And you use the humidifier, too.
That, too, yeah.
In South Africa, a gay baboon, they say, has terrorized villagers and raped 5 men. Men at a village in the northwest leaving in fear over a big male baboon that likes to grope and bonk human males. The baboon is said to have attacked more than 6 men in the past week, and what's baffling the villagers is the fact that the baboon only attacks guys and does not hurt its victims, but rather performs sexual acts on top of the terrified victim and leaves. One victim, George Chuni, said he was coming home from the local shebeen. What's a shebeen?
$20, same as downtown.
Thank you. When the baboon attacked him and pinned him down, I thought it wanted to kill me, but realized it was after my bum. 5 men were admitted to the hospital after experiencing acute anal pains and fatigue. See, now that's on Twitter, and
I don't think they thought it was very cute, though.
No, when it's all fun and games until the baboon sits on you
and pokes you.
And pokes you. And I wish that it was true, but it's this is a bogus story from 2017. Goes all the way back to the South Africa Morning Post, and it is not real. It's fake news. But it's a fun story, right? I mean, because there's nothing like a good case of baboon rape on 5 or 6 men to really make your morning kind of off to a fun start. Twitter has banned Project Veritas. Go figure.
I started to say that was. Yeah, it was gonna happen. There was no question. Yeah.
I find that this happened last night, just minutes before the Twitter ban. Project Veritas.
Didn't they ban them before, and Veritas got them to reinstate it?
Sure.
I don't remember.
Here's the problem, and I was going back and forth with Beaver on this morning prior to the program. This is damning information when you find out what Project Veritas has released. Never before seen military documents detailing the origins of COVID-19, gain-of-function research, vaccine, potential treatments, and the government's efforts to hide everything from the public. The military documents prove that Dr. Fauci lied under oath. The Gateway Pundit reported Fauci has repeatedly testified under oath to Congress that the U.S. government was never involved in gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. But these new documents that Project Veritas has put out there show that military documents state the EcoHealth Alliance approached DARPA and again, this was the this is how they got around it. It was the non-government, what do they call them? NGO, non-government contractors. Anyway, they don't work for, they are not officially government. They're an outside contractor. So that when the CIA or the FBI or the whomever in the government wants to say, well, we weren't involved in that, they are officially correct because they paid an outside contractor to do it. So with their hands are technically clean. So these documents, again, show that the EcoHealth Alliance approached DARPA in March of 2018, seeking funding to conduct gain-of-function research of bat-borne coronaviruses. The proposal, named Project Diffuse, was rejected by DARPA over safety concerns and the notion that it violates the gain-of-function research moratorium. So somebody had a conscience. At least one person. The main report regarding the EcoHealth Alliance proposal leaked on the internet a couple of months ago. It's remained unverified until now. Project Veritas has obtained a separate report to the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, written by U.S. Marine Corps Major Joseph Murphy, a former DARPA fellow. The proposal does not mention or assess potential risks of gain-of-function research. Project Veritas reached out to DARPA for comment regarding the hidden documents and spoke with the chief of communications. Here's what happened. They found these documents on a server, on a hard drive somewhere, hidden, under layers of folders. They not technically classified as classified. If the Department of Defense felt this gain-of-function research was too dangerous to proceed with, why in the world did the NIH, NIAID, and EcoHealth Alliance recklessly disregard the risks involved? And so they put it out there, and what happened? Well, first of all, Twitter has banned them. Yeah, I mean, it's there in black and white. It's there in black and white. And what will happen? What will be the outcome of this? What do you think, Ron?
Not a damn thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. This is the most frustrating part. Is the evidence, the smoking gun? It's sitting right there, and yet nothing will happen. The documents, they say, were hidden in a top secret shared drive. DARPA is an agency under the U.S. Department of Defense in charge of facilitating research in technology with potential military applications. Again, Project Veritas obtained a separate report to the Inspector General, which all of it is right there in black and white. But it's, you know what this reminds me of is Hunter Biden's laptop. It was all there in black and white. But what happened? Nothing. Not a damn thing. That's where people, at least it frustrates me. It's like, all right, what do? You put it out there. You make sure that you tell as many people as you can, because they sure as hell won't have this on NBC News or CNN or anything else.
Right.
So you try to get it out there to as many people as you can and then see what happens, and nothing. Dr. Fauci repeatedly maintained under oath the NIH and the NIAID have not been involved in gain-of-function research with the EcoHealth Alliance program. No, we haven't done it. Deny, deny, deny. They keep denying. But according to the documents, which outline why EcoHealth Alliance's proposal was rejected, DARPA classified the research as gain-of-function. Let's see here. Who at DARPA made the decision to bury the original report? They could have raised red flags at the Pentagon, the White House, or Congress, which may have prevented this entire pandemic that has led to the deaths of 5.4 million people worldwide and caused much pain and suffering to many millions more. Which, remember, everything that we are experiencing right now, every one of our problems, I don't think that's hyperbole either, is that the blame is, we can lay it squarely at the feet of the government. If Dingle Nuts there, Fauci hadn't wanted to play God and delve into this research, we wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with right now. And then, of course, in their brilliant response, governments everywhere decided the best way to handle all this was to shut everything down. So we shut our entire planet down. And now look where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every problem that we're having right now is right there at the feet of the political elite. But this is really, it's just, well, here's an oldie but a goodie. Fauci and Rand Paul getting it with each other.
I disagree with so many of the things that you've said.
You're still unwilling to admit that they gained in function, they gained in lethality.
According to the definition that is currently operable,
We're not going to get anywhere close to trying to prevent another lab leak of this dangerous sort of experiment. You won't admit that it's dangerous, and for that lack of judgment, I think it's time that you resign.
Project Veritas has obtained never-before-seen military documents regarding the origins of COVID-19, gain-of-function research, vaccines, potential treatments which have been suppressed, and the government's effort to conceal all of this. Dr. Anthony Fauci has testified many times before Congress stating that the U.S. government was never involved in gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Will you today finally take some responsibility for funding gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator, with all due respect, I disagree with so many of the things that you've said. First of all, gain of function is a very nebulous term.
But the thing is you're still unwilling to admit that they gained in function when they say they became sicker. They gained in lethality. It's a new virus. That's not gain of function?
According to the definition that is currently operable.
We're not going to get anywhere close to trying to prevent another lab leak of this dangerous sort of experiment. You won't admit that it's dangerous, and for that lack of judgment, I think it's time that you resign.
Yeah, he's not going to resign. Are you kidding? We pay not only, and the irony is, not only is he not going to resign, we pay him more than we pay anyone else in our employ.
Yeah, his retirement, they said, was going to be $300,000+ a year.
We pay this piece of crap more than anyone else on our payroll. That's just, I don't know how you do anything but shake your head on that one. And then on top of that, remember when there were these, what do you call them? Not prophylactics, therapeutics, like the ivermectins of the world.
Yeah.
Which I'm still trying to get mine. There seems to be a hang up at the pharmacy.
For ivermectin?
Yeah.
No.
And they tried to, and not only tried, but they successfully put the kibosh on a lot of people getting any of these prophylactics or therapies for the Rona. And they were able to do it. I mean, I don't know if they intimidated pharmacies or pharmacists. There is a, let's see if I can find this here. There is a Substack. I think I said that right. There's a Substack about a doctor trying to get his patients ivermectin and, how did it go? That's it right there. Trying to get ivermectin and a couple of other drugs for his patients on a Saturday night. This is, he calls it Saturday Night Fight at the Pharmacy. This is written by Pierre Corey. I guess he's a doctor. It says, in the Omicron wildfire with hundreds of thousands ill each day, U.S. physicians and patients need their pharmacist support, but most block access to generic medicines fearfully and or willfully. I'm exhausted physically, emotionally, and morally, although I'm not sure moral exhaustion is a thing. The daily witnessing of masses of physicians and pharmacists abandoning their core responsibility of placing the welfare of the patient as their primary consideration is beyond wearying. As my friend and COVID expert, Dr. Hector Carvalho, said long ago, it's time for the lawyers. It's becoming increasingly critical that the law profession aid the medical profession, as it has long ago been led astray by captured federal pharmaceutical agencies. Note that I no longer call them federal health agencies, as all their actions have been 100% consistent with what a pharmaceutical or vaccine manufacturer would want them to do. That's that connection between like the FDA and, if you watch Dope Sick, the fact that there are so many of these FDA officials that after they leave the FDA, they go to work for a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
And they're able to get stuff passed. Again, it goes back to trust. How do you trust the FDA to do anything that is not in just their best interest? To prove that point, I simply ask that when you read an announcement in corporate media that reports a new decision or action by the federal pharmaceutical agencies, simply ask yourself, is that what a pharmaceutical company would do? Perfect example of this exercise was 2 days ago when it was announced that the FPA had authorized boosters for 12 to 17-year-olds against Omicron, a generally mild cold in kids, using a vaccine designed for older, fundamentally different variants that have already spectacularly failed at giving protection against Omicron, given ever-increasing data of negative efficiency. That is, vaccinated people are getting Omicron more frequently than the unvaccinated. Whoa. Hadn't heard that one, had you?
I have.
Vaccinated people are getting Omicron more frequently than the unvaccinated.
Yes, because the Omicron variant attacks the vaccinated harder, supposedly.
Is that not, I mean, just
supposedly? I don't know that correctly. But
doesn't that make your head spin when you hear that?
It's stupid.
This is crazy. Yet the FPA doubles down with yet another non-scientific policy so that pharma can increase the total market size of those eligible for a vaccine. And who cares if this decision ends up sending more kids to hospitals than the disease ever would? Another brutal assault on public health. Another day in the United States of pharma. In the United States of pharma, individual doctors and pharmacists have been led so far astray, forgivably or unforgivably, due to the relentless barrage of disinformation targeted at them by the FPAs, and further supported by relentless daily propaganda appearing in both major media and medical journals. The resulting proportion of these two professions that have failed to display even a modicum of either critical thinking or moral conviction is terrifying. The doctor that I've known for years that I had that discussion with about the vaccine, who was very enthusiastic and couldn't wait until the vaccine was approved for her 9-year-old.
Really?
Yeah. Remember that I told you that? I said, "What? Where do you get your information?" And she had medical journals, things like that. And I'm all right. And I said, "Why is it that what is it that you trust? Why do you trust the vaccine?" Well, we have the smartest people in the world working on this stuff. I don't think she was being malicious. I think that, and she's obviously a smart woman. She's a freaking doctor. So, but they're depending on the stuff that they read in these medical journals and these official documents that they get from the AMA or whatever.
I don't disagree that there are smart people out there and that there are smart people working on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is do we have enough time working on the problem to know what the problem truly is? And that's how, come on, we don't get a vaccination in 6 months that usually takes a couple of years to get if one, they hadn't already been working on it, and two...
You mean we don't get it approved and out there?
Yeah.
Right.
I just, in the whole, FDA approval for the Pfizer, people are still complaining about that today. The Pfizer... Well, the Pfizer Comirnaty is the one that was FDA approved.
But it's still not here.
But it's still not in the States.
Right.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It's possible because Pfizer continues to say that the Comirnaty is actually a rebranded version of the whatever the hell it is called. BioNTech. Yeah. So it's just rebranded. It's the same shit, just rebranded. Well, why? Why did you have to rebrand it? Number one. Was that a copyright issue? What?
Why hasn't
trademark, whatever?
why is it still operating under the emergency use authorization?
Because it's not FDA approved.
Right.
Yeah.
But it, again,
but they came out with those words. They said those words in public, and how many people went out and got the vaccine because, oh, well,
right.
Pfizer's, FDA approved.
Even though it's not.
Yeah.
And if you question it, that's when you end up going down the memory hole. And like Project Veritas, they'll try to cancel them as much as possible. But again, with these doctors, but then you have the doctors who are willing to step out there. Dr. McCullough, was it Peter McCullough?
Yeah.
People like that, who I also was fortunate to have him as behind the scenes guidance, which was nice. And how is it that some doctors are able to like see through the fog and the crap, and then you've got others like Schaffner at Vanderbilt University, who just comes out there and whatever the corporate line is, yep, he'll say it. Sure seems like that's what's happening. It's just strange that there are these some of these doctors will do whatever the corporate the corporate messaging is. They'll step in front of a microphone and
it
others,
just seems like a lot of doctors and a lot of professionals in that realm have sold their souls, and I don't get it.
Does, and I don't get it either. Do they believe that they're doing the right thing?
If that's the case, if they believe that they're doing the right thing, then you can't fault them. I say, when I say you can't fault them, what are they reading? Are they out there trying to educate others? Are they going, here's what I'm reading, here's what I'm finding? No, I don't see any of that. I see a level of professional doctors, nurses, and everything battling each other, and it's confusing as shit.
Yeah, it is. Well, this
you
guy
got scientists, doctors, nurses, all these people that you've grown up going, oh, okay, well, these people know what they're talking about.
Right.
Now battling each other, and you're like, what's going on?
It messes with your reality.
What is going on?
I have never before, like I said, I've never argued with doctors. I've never stayed in the hospital
Never
before
need
either.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
But now I was like, man, the doctors would come in and I'd be like, oh, get away.
Yeah.
Sign of the cross. They're not evil people, I don't think, but I think they're horribly misguided. So this guy goes on, he says, what prompted me to write this Substack was my most recent failure and the resulting distress that led to crap sleep last night over not being able to get a pharmacist to fill my orders in the hours prior to closing of pharmacies for an acutely ill COVID patient that had contacted me reporting high fever, sore throat, body aches. I immediately wanted to start him on a short course combination regimen of 3 old, safe, cheap, generic medications, all with large clinical trials, evidence-based, showing high efficacy against COVID. And those 3 drugs, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and fluvoxamine. What's important to note is that months ago, I stopped trying to contact any pharmacy unless I knew they would fill my scripts for these off-patient medications, because unless I knew a pharmacy was safe, I ran a high probability of entering an unaffordably time-wasting and ultimately losing argument with some smug, obstinate pharmacist. As a result, we early treatment docs have long since been forced to build lists of safe haven pharmacies where we know we can easily get access to these medicines for our patients. So this doctor calls up the pharmacy and wants to get these prescriptions for patients, gives the name of the patients, what do they need, needs ivermectin, blah, blah, blah. Pharmacist says, doctor, I'm sorry, I can't fill the ivermectin. The owner of the pharmacy said,
why?
The owner of the pharmacy says, we are not to fill for COVID. There's no evidence it works. The doctor calls pharmacy, says, I want to get this for my patient. Pharmacy tech.
See, that's where the breakdown is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The pharmacist all of a sudden now doing the doctor's job for him, or the owner of the pharmacy, who's probably not a pharmacist.
Right. Yep.
What stick got shoved up their ass that said that they weren't allowed to do that? What? Who said that they
likely
weren't?
a government agency?
Did they get a government agency call them and go, you cannot fill ivermectin for COVID?
And if you do, we'll yank your pharmacist license. And again, this
God dang, that is horse shit.
I know.
Dude.
This goes back This goes all the way back to the lockdowns here in Texas, for example.
Not your place to determine what I'm going to give my patient.
But we've given the government so much power. We have turned over so much power that they have this unbelievable power over businesses and things like pharmacies. The doctor says, listen, I don't know who the owner is, but you are the pharmacist on duty, and I'm calling in a prescription to you, not the owner. Guy says, I'm sorry, I just can't. So I look at the letter, I start spewing rapid-fire arguments at him. Well, unfortunately for you, my patient is an executive of a company, and their lawyers prepared to and will send a letter of intent to sue if it has not been filled because you are violating his civil rights, blocking my licensed ability to practice medicine and care for my sick patient, and you are clearly practicing medicine illegally and highly ignorantly. You should at least know that if you are...
Great response, by the way.
Yeah, that what you are doing, if you are going to do it without a license, man. Says, but I'm allowed to refuse, doctor. And the argument goes on. I'll tweet this out there. It's amazing that these arguments are happening. That these pharmacists are getting into these arguments with doctors who are just trying to get their patients the drugs that they want them to have as either...
and the argument that it's not authorized for COVID, who gives a flying rat's ass? It's not going to kill the person if they give ivermectin to them. Who cares what it's supposed to be used for?
I think it would, but right, exactly. It's the politicization.
God, we're going to get hammered on this freaking episode.
Yes, we are.
YouTube can kiss my ass.
See, you got you all fired up.
It's the dumbest thing, dude.
It is stupid.
A pharmacist.
It is stupid. It is crazy.
On the quote advice of his owner, who's probably not a pharmacist,
right,
can tell a doctor, I refuse to fill this.
You know what they should be wearing is one of these shirts that people would know. Don't mess with me.
I see you turn.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Go to mojo50.com, click on shop. You will find under the, and I put that out there on the social. You will find the all of the great apparel pieces that we have, with more yet to come. But I have to admit, I'm not sure I knew we had this one.
Yeah, we did. We've had that for a long time.
Well, I just said I'm not sure I remember. Maybe it could be the
Remember
the brain
when
fog.
we did the face mask?
Yes.
With that? That's
Yes.
the same time we put that up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. See, it's my brain fog. It has the cool Mojo 50 logo on the
2020,
side.
early 2020.
Has it been that long?
It's been a while.
Huh. Time flies when you have fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So get yours today. Make sure that people know that you are one of those people who wears that snake flag thing. That's the amazing thing. How many people don't know that what it really the idea behind the Gadsden flag and all that. Mojo50.com. Click on shop.
Are you going to talk about Aliana Raptum?
Wrapped him. Damn near killed him. As a matter of fact, yes, we'll do that here coming up in just a minute. Rebel Patriot, this is exactly why you do not want socialized medicine. In a nutshell, that is exactly it. Because what that story that doctor described, that is government medicine, and that's where we're headed. And that should terrify everybody. Your Daily Mojo continues in a minute.
Clear.
Damn this.
Little tickle you got going.
Yes.
I've had to mute out a couple of times.
God. It just is a little tickle. I think it's from the dry air.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's also, it's funny. Budesonide is used to prevent difficulty breathing, chest tightness, wheezing, and coughing caused by asthma. I don't have asthma.
They gave me budesonide once, and it worked like a champ.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I really
it will open up all those damn capillaries.
That's what it feels. It really does feel like that's what it's doing. I think it's the dry air that's making me cough.
Yeah.
Of course, and the brain fog may be caused by the combination of all the crap
Of
they
meds.
put me on.
Yeah.
I'm not on anything aside from the budesonide anymore. Let's see what they're doing in the Facebook.
According to Beth, we'll have Dan at the bottom.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
COVID-19 hospitalizations reach record high, HHS data shows. CNN just broke that.
But
there are 145,982 people currently hospitalized with COVID-19. 24,000 ICU beds in use for COVID-19 patients. No. That's up from 142,000 last week. Huh. They said it peaked at 104,000 in September. The Delta surge.
At liberty-lighthouse.com. Until tomorrow, protect your liberties. Once they're gone, there's no getting them back.
If we weren't so bad.
To puppy rape. I like to cuss. Do I want to keep my penis?
Cat wants some black titties. We wouldn't be so good. Mojo 50. The mothership has landed.
Wade Robertson says what blows my mind is that at this point, we're still talking about this bullcrap. I'm beyond over discussing the insanity that is COVID. Let's move along. There's some other insanity in the world. I think we brought this up yesterday briefly, but I don't think we really dug into it to the point where it sank in. A Yale transgender swimmer has beaten a fellow Penn transgender swimmer in an Ivy League female-only 100-meter race that happened on Saturday. So it's a female-only race.
Yep.
And two dudes swam against each other in it, and one dude beat the other dude.
Yep.
In a female-only 100-meter race. According to reports, Leah Thomas, who was born male, won the 200-meter and 500-meter races at Penn's final home meet of the season, but she finished sixth in the 100-meter to Yale's own Isaac Hennig, a female-to-male transgender swimmer. According to the Post-Millennial, in June, Hennig wrote in a New York Times column that he wasn't taking hormones and would remain on the women's team. As a student athlete, coming out as a trans guy put me in a weird position. Part of it was my ankle up behind my ear and around the left.
Good Lord.
I could start hormones to align more with myself or wait, transition socially, and keep competing on a women's swim team. I decided on the latter. I value my contributions to the team and recognize that my boyhood doesn't hinge on whether there's more or less testosterone running through my veins. At least that's what I'll try to remember when I put on the women's swimsuit for the competition and am reminded of a self I no longer feel attached to. So, yeah, two guys who are competing in a female-only swim event. It's I don't know. What do you even do with that? What do you do with it?
I just want to hear the actual females' comments. They're like, what the?
I wasn't prepared for that. Everything is messed up. I can't wrap my head around this. The NCAA has to do something about it. They need to put science into the decision and discussion. This is what a Penn swim parent told the Daily Mail. Another parent said, a man just crushed the women's team. And I think came in second as well, right? Other parents told the Daily Mail that after winning the 50-yard freestyle, Henning proceeded to pull down the top of his swimsuit, revealing his chest, which had gone through breast reduction. The Ivy League and Penn both made official statements in support of Thomas, defending the trans athlete's record-breaking wins. Over the past several years, Leah and the University of Pennsylvania have worked with the NCAA to follow all of the appropriate protocols in order to comply with the NCAA policy on transgender athlete participation and compete on Penn's women's swimming and diving team. This reminds me of watching Terminator 2. It was on last night, and it's always on. Just happened to watch it. But it was back in 91 that the movie came out. And you know what year it was that her son had sent back the Terminator to 1991 to disrupt the process or to save him. Do you know what year, from what year he was sent back?
2022.
Close, 2029. So we're 7 years away from Skynet. And I started thinking, you know what? We're on the right track with all the shit that's going on right now.
Yeah, that's true.
By 2029, there will be Skynet, and there will be these Terminators running around stomping us, and likely there will be time travel, and we'll be able to send the Terminator back to 1991. And that's how weird things have gotten. I don't know how much of the problems that we're actually facing can be fixed by a Terminator, but it's worth a shot, isn't it? Wouldn't that be something if it ended up being a Terminator actually fixing our troubles?
Yeah.
I'm just, would it shock me? No. Let's see how do I ask this question? Hang on. They delivered more of these last year than at any other time in its 117-year history. There was more demand for this product last year than there was in its entire 117-year history. As a matter of fact, if you ordered one right now, you would have to wait about a year to get it. What is it?
Wow, you'd have to wait about a year.
You'd have to wait a year to get it. If you ordered one now, you'd have to wait a year to get it, and they sold more of them in the last year than they had in the 117-year history of the product.
I have no idea.
Rolls-Royce.
Oh, I'm thinking COVID funds.
There was a high demand for all models of Rolls-Royce, especially the Ghost and the Cullinan models. They're based in West Sussex. I didn't know BMW owned them. They delivered 5,586 cars last year, up 49% compared with 2020. Who the hell was making all the money to buy the Rolls-Royce? The CEO of Rolls says it was a phenomenal year.
It sounds like it.
But who the hell was who was buying them? Who's been shitting money over the last year?
People that got money for their freaking coronavirus stuff.
What do you mean? People who got money for their coronavirus stuff?
All the companies.
Are you talking about like vaccine companies and stuff?
Yeah, no, payroll. What do you call that?
I don't know.
Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about, dude.
Unemployment?
All the companies that got paid money for the coronavirus pandemic. The pandemic payroll.
Are you
protection.
drunk? Oh, the PPP.
Thank you. Jesus Christ, dude.
Why didn't you just say PPP?
I was trying to. It wasn't like I wasn't trying
to. So
to.
you're saying that these companies that got these interest-free loans from the federal government, that they took that money and bought Rolls Royces?
Yes.
They're that,
People,
irresponsible?
The COVID bailouts, Misty says.
COVID bailouts.
They took that money and they personally bought freaking Rolls Royces.
Damn it.
Yep.
How did we miss that boat? Why didn't we get a PPP?
I don't know.
Didn't we qualify?
Nobody applied for it. We don't have any employees.
Oh. Well, there's that. I mean, aside from that, wouldn't we qualify aside from the fact that we don't have employees? We didn't make any money. It was, and I can blame COVID on it, can't we?
I guess.
I just hate when we miss a trend like that. We could have been driving Rolls-Royce Ghost Clouds around. We could have driven them all the way to Turkmenistan and to the gates of hell. You ever been there?
No.
Oh, they are trying now to find a way to extinguish this. The gates of hell is a fire that has been burning in Turkmenistan since 1975. It's a fire. It's dubbed the Gates of Hell. It was rumored to be started deliberately in 1971 when a gas drilling site collapsed into a gas reservoir, and geologists decided to set it on fire to keep the methane from spewing into the atmosphere. They thought, okay, this thing will burn out in a few weeks. That was 50 years ago.
Wow.
It has been burning ever since. The crater measures 230 feet across by 65 feet deep, and it's still on fire today. It just burns. There's fire in this thing, and it's become a tourist attraction in Turkmenistan. So, when you are considering whether or not to go to Turkmenistan on vacation, on holiday this year, consider that you could stop off at the Gates of Hell. So this thing has been burning, again, for 50 years. The official name of the crater is the Shining of Karakum, but it's also known as the Darvaza Crater, so named after the nearby village. It's located about 160 miles from the Turken capital of Ashgabat. So it's just on fire. And see, when you see things like this.
Why is it staying lit so long?
Natural gas. It just keeps oozing out.
Oh, I guess.
See, this is what bugs me. We're talking, global warming, climate change, all that crap. And then you got something like this. What a total waste of natural gas. Why can't you just stick a spigot on this thing and bottle this stuff? You know how many forklifts you could be powering on this natural gas? It's just burning for 50 years.
True.
And they're all bitching at us because we're not efficient enough. We don't save enough energy over the course of the year in this country and blah, blah, blah. They're always blaming us when in Turkmenistan, they got this damn hole in the ground that's been on fire for 50 years. And they can't figure out how to put it out. And if there's if the natural gas is leaking out of this just one little place, isn't it leaking like next to it? Isn't it leaking out across the entire desert? It's not like there's just like little holes and pipes right there that are, leaking in that just one little area of 220 square feet or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It has to be leaking. Natural gas has to be like oozing up out of the ground all around this thing too.
Well, you would think so.
And so why, if it's, oozing and leaking around all of this, why isn't the entire desert on fire? It's It's not COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not COVID. Just thought I would bring that up. You know how many people right now consider themselves ready for a disaster?
Very few, I would think.
Americans were split on whether they needed further preparations for a potential catastrophe. 49% said that they were as prepared as they need to be. 51% said that they needed more preparation. So about evenly split. It was research done by Kelton Research showed that 85% of Americans do not feel prepared for a catastrophe. They were asked questions about why they feel they need to prepare, what catastrophe they might face, how to best prepare, and what they would do if they thought the world was going to end. I mean, it could be ending. Do you think a catastrophe will occur? One of the interesting findings from the survey was that the majority of Americans believe that a major catastrophe will occur within the next 20 years. What constitutes a major catastrophe? And we've been through a lot, right? I mean, think about it.
We have, and a major catastrophe probably is one that cost us a lot of money from a country standpoint.
I mean,
but coronavirus is.
I would think Corona is a pretty major catastrophe. When asked how prepared they feel they are compared to their neighbors, half said they were about as prepared as those around them. See, what you don't want to have happen is discover that you have done, you are in good shape, but your neighbors haven't, done their part, and they don't have the emergency food supply. And then, one day you're sitting there and something bad happens, and they're like knocking on your door going, hey, you got some food?
They can knock all day long.
Right. Or they can just walk in like they do here.
Nope.
Hey.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, that would have freaked me out if the dude last night had just walked in and said, hey, I heard you have some emergency food here. That would have been freaky, right?
Look, does it not concern you that people walk in your house?
Unless they're hot.
Jeez, dude.
What? What are you going to do?
Shoot them.
I think it's weird that it's happened
Or at least
twice.
introduce them to the damn thing.
It's just so odd that it has happened twice in, what, a year and a half? I mean, how many times has that happened to other people?
Lock the freaking door.
What? It just, usually the door is locked. I don't want to give you the impression that the thing's standing open all the time, but it just so happened that those two different times it was the deadbolt was out, but it was against the strike.
I just
plate.
don't get it that people walk into people's houses.
I don't either.
And it's not like he doesn't know that it's not his house.
Well, remember last time it happened, they got like
they
got
drunk.
15. No, they weren't drunk, but they got like 15 feet in, and they're like looking around, going, "What did you rearrange the?" They actually asked it. Did you rearrange?
It wasn't their house. They were coming to see somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
They were old people. I mean, they looked, they were safe. And
in this day and age,
meth
does
heads,
everybody leave their doors unlocked where old people can just, come on in?
And if meth heads are going to come in, they're going to come in whether your door's locked or not.
How is that?
By busting right through.
Oh, see, that's a whole different ball game at that
That's
point.
what I'm saying. It's just weird. The bottom line is this. PrepareWithMojo50.com is where you'll find your emergency food supply and other tools that you'll need when the apocalypse really does happen. And I mean, it really could. It could happen in nothing would surprise me at this point. Just take a look around at your local grocery store and see how much food isn't on the shelves. Because there's a lot of food that's not on the shelves there now. And I still don't know what in the hell is up with Harvest chips. I don't get that. Seriously, the Harvest chips, and there's, what was the other thing? It's, one of the granolas. Oh, Love Crunch. Love Crunch is like gone everywhere. Is there like a run on Love Crunch? Is it all sitting on a boat off the coast of California? What the hell's going on? Better prepare with Mojo50.com and get your emergency food supply. Have it standing by because you never know what disaster is right around the corner. And I guarantee you there's something coming this way. Now, I don't want to be too much of a doomsday machine here, but let's just say that this is scary. Dr. Malone, Dr. Robert Malone. Did you see what he said to Steve Bannon?
I've heard clips of it, but not all of it.
This is to say it's terrifying, I think, is probably an understatement. He was on the War Room, Steve Bannon's podcast, and he started discussing what is happening and coming out of China now again. And we're still living in the midst of what came out of China last time. So this is what Dr. Robert Malone, again the inventor of the mRNA vaccine, was saying to Steve Bannon on the War Room.
Stand it because clearly the apparatus is bound and determined to shut this conversation down immediately, like they shut the conversation down or tried to of what you talked about on vaccines. I want to just go to China for a second. Why have you? So now they're talking about using your vaccine or your experimental gene therapy. Is what the Chinese Communist Party did enforcing vaccinations or whatever this thing is they had on 1.2 billion people, could that be exacerbating what now looks like an outbreak of we don't know what? We're not sure of what because the information coming out is so limited. Could that be a one of the factors that could be exacerbating whatever new things coming out of China?
Okay, so here's what we know, Steve, and I want to cite Gert van den Bosch, Dr. Gert van den Bosch, a leading academic and industrial vaccinologist, who is my colleague, and I'll be doing an extended filming with him and Matthias in Spain shortly, just a few days from now. Matthias, Gert has made the point now for months and months and months that vaccinating into a pandemic will drive the development of escape mutants that are resistant to vaccination. The CCP's practice has mirrored that of the Western world and has resulted in a perfect storm of environment for developing supervirus. They're using the language that this is a hemorrhagic fever virus. If that's the case, then it would be very odd that this would be something caused by a coronavirus. That terminology is usually used for viruses in the family of Marburg and Ebola.
Marburg and Ebola. So they're saying now that what could be coming out of China next is this Marburg/Ebola virus thing. You thought things were weird now. Something people have feared, they say, is the development of a rapidly spreading Ebola-like hemorrhagic fever virus. Because we're not sure if that's exactly what's happening, but the way he says that they're using, and this is, again, I don't know if this is Robert Malone just out there. Are they just fear-mongering? Is that what these people do now? Is that what Robert Malone and all the guy invented the mRNA, experimental gene therapy, as they were saying. He is a virologist and immunologist and the inventor of the mRNA technology, I guess. And he's saying that is the language that the Chinese are using more often than not describes the Ebola or what's the other thing? Ebola or Marburg virus. I mean, is that what we're up against next? Is that the encore after the Rona?
So this is something that many people have feared, is the development of a rapidly spreading Ebola-like hemorrhagic fever virus. But we have no knowledge of whether that's what's going on here or not. So we don't know if what we're dealing with is a further mutation of the SARS-CoV-2 or related coronavirus, or is it a new threat that's emerging in China?
Remember when this whole thing started back, at the end of 2019?
Right at the end. Yeah.
Remember, and that's when we started getting the crazy videos out of China, and we didn't know what was it. People were like falling down in the streets. We just didn't know. I mean, is this the new normal now? Is it? Are we just going to see what the next virus or the next disease?
Well, if everybody would quit trying to show that their dick is bigger than somebody else's. We'll get through this. The problem is that you've got doctors and scientists who are on one side of the fence and doctors and scientists who are on the other side of the fence. And it's confusing the shit out of those of us who aren't doctors and scientists.
It's quite frankly getting irritating.
And you got one side going, well, we're in the right. You can kiss my ass.
Right.
And the other ones are like, no, you're not in the right. You can kiss my ass. I mean, how do you have people like America's frontline doctors battling other doctors and scientists? I mean, if that's the case, then there's something going on.
Is this the new normal? Is this just
It's
where we
gotta
are?
be. It's got to be.
Is this are we at the prelude to Skynet? It's possible. I mean, it's possible, right? Would it surprise you? With everything going on, with all of the crap that's happening all around us.
I just don't get that everybody is so. Let's just follow what the government says and shut up. I
know it's really strange. Pure Beaver says, I feel like China took Guns N' Roses too literally. Welcome in the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Watch it bring you to your knees. I want to watch you bleed. And Timmy, the retired pilot, if she came to my house at my age, I would certainly let her in. Got to take what I can. Just saying, she was hot. Wait a minute, who was hot? Huh? And there's another asteroid headed our way. Thank you, Rebel Patriot. Giant asteroid, 3,500 feet wide, is hurtling toward Earth right now.
Don't look up.
Have you seen that movie?
I love that movie.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was odd.
It was odd, but I loved it. Especially the after credits at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will give you that. That was a good one. So the asteroid is named Asteroid 7498. It's roughly 2.5 times the height of New York's Empire State Building. NASA considers it a potentially hazardous asteroid because of its size and how close it is flying to our planet. And it will fly by, it's expected to pass within 1.2 million miles of the Earth. That's over 5 times the distance between the Earth and the Moon. It will pass so far from the Earth, a chance of seeing this giant asteroid with the naked eye is slim. So again, we are being teased by the cosmos. Here's your big fix. Here's the easy fix.
Yep.
but you can't have any of it. You got to keep going. We will have Dead Andros for the first time in the year 2022. Coming up in just a minute. I don't know, maybe he has a solution for all this crap. Just saying. He's as good a shot as the rest of us. Daily Mojo continues next.
A free exchange.
Clear? Oh, goddamn.
Hi, Dan.
I was just gonna ask how you're feeling, but I think that
both of us are feeling
summed it
like
up.
crap these days.
I feel okay. I feel dizzy.
And I'm very lethargic.
And I'm always lethargic. But it's a weird I don't know what the hell would be making me dizzy other than I'm getting more oxygen now than I've had in the past year or so. Because apparently I was not getting a lot of oxygen over the course of however long it's been. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bet. So are you generally better now, though, aside from your death cough that I just heard?
That's the weird thing is I think it's just the dry air in here. It's just this little tickle thing going on because my pneumonia is gone, but it just every now and then I feel like coughing.
That's just the news. That's just the news that's doing that. Oh, you said coughing. I thought you said crying.
The crying. It's all over but the crying. Are you watching us on any of the streaming video platforms?
Me?
You.
No, I'm not.
Too bad. You'd be able to see the Aliana Raptum.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll have to.
It's Brad's art project.
Oh.
It's weird looking.
It is
All right, here we
weird
go.
looking.
Should sell.
Yes, that's the plan.
Preparewithmojo50.com is the answer.
The Daily Mojo.
Let's see what they're saying on the Twitter share. Oblivion flickering. Those people who just walked in, they could have been elderly versions of the fake diehard terrorists. Before you could respond, the leader might have shot you and said something cool like benefits of classical education. Exactly, see? But they didn't. Joining us on the phone now, but I feel like I've gone downhill. Dan Andros from Faithwire, also the 4 and 3 podcast. Notice I said it correctly.
You did.
Not 4,
well done.
Not 4 plus, but 4 and 3 podcast. Heard wherever you can buy or sell your podcast. So, first of all, how are you doing in the new year? Things different, good, better, worse?
I'm doing great, but I mean, the real question is, how are you doing? I mean, you sound great, aside from all that.
From the death hack. No, I feel a little goofy. I feel a little lightheaded, and this cough. It's not like a disease cough. It's like, I think, dry air, because the humidity level over here has been in the 20s and 30s, to the point where we had to go out and buy a humidifier just to bring it up to something that was livable. But
right,
I'm surprised at what a toll this whole thing took on my voice. It doesn't want to last 2 hours each day. It's weird.
You just kind of get a scratchy thing.
Yeah, you do.
On. Yeah.
You do. And it's have you had the Rona at all that you know of, Dan?
Not that I know of. Nope.
So it's just a weird experience. And again, having and you and I haven't talked since last year, and since before I got it, having been diagnosed, or having been whatever you want to call it, when I went into the hospital, I realized that I've had this before. So whatever it was, whether it was COVID pneumonia or just pneumonia or walking pneumonia, whatever, I've had it before. So I've been dealing with this for some time and just didn't know it. So I'm just happy to be 6 feet above the ground.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you're ticking. Glad that everything's.
Although taxes would be a lot less daunting if I was dead. I mean, think about it that way. And I did
solve that problem. I mean, on your end, it would solve a lot of problems, right?
It would. Life would be simpler for me. I did want to call attention to the Aliena Raptum that is sitting here on the desk in the Mojo 50 studio. It is it's a piece of art that I've been talking about that hadn't been seen until now, and it looks a lot like an alien. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it looks like an alien behind glass. And this was an actual circus sideshow freak show piece that was used in, when you go to the back in the day when you could go to the circus and you could see the freak show and see all the weird stuff. This was actually a piece that was on display in one of the circuses, and it's been redesigned and had some colorful lights. It's my piece of art now, and it's actually the alien was a living thing at one point in time.
Yeah,
really. Yeah, so kind of.
It's interesting.
It's
interesting. You're triggering me though, Brad. You're reminding me of a state fair that I went to one time, and when you talk about the freak show.
Yep.
And they had a sign out there that said, you're just walking along, you're getting funnel cakes, whatever. And there's a sign that said, "Hey, see the world's smallest human."
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. I'll go check it out. And you had to pay like $1 or something,
right,
or whatever it was, $2. And then they walk you around back to the back side of this trailer. And I kid you not, I don't know what the PC term is. Is it dwarf, little person? What is it?
Right.
For a midget. There was just a dwarf sitting there. And he looked so disgusted at me. He just, I'm sorry to make you laugh, but he had this look like, you awful human being. You paid $1 to come gawk at me. And I have never felt he was only about 2 feet tall or however tall he was, but I felt like the smallest human being at that point in my life. And I just kind of shook my head and said, I'm sorry. And I hung my head in shame and I left.
How long ago was that?
That was a long time ago. That was
in the
that
90s?
Was before I had kids. It was probably right around 2000-ish, probably right around there somewhere.
Okay. All right. Because that was, I'm trying to remember I lived in Nashville at the time.
I think it was in Virginia, if I remember right.
It was, and I would imagine it probably was the same. Then it's probably the same touring circus out of Florida, because at that time, the Lobster Boy was on the touring circuit within the
Yes.
circuit, and I remember seeing him. And I think we went to the carnival to the circus after a few adult beverages. So not only are you slightly inebriated, but then you go in and you see what this person known as the Lobster Boy, and he's sitting there. And he's obviously got I can't remember what the term is, but the not pterodactylism. But anyway, their hands are fused in such a way it looks like
web.
lobster claws, and he's sitting there on a table eating lobster. And it was one of those, wow, this is so weird.
Like,
things.
What have I done?
Yeah.
Is that the same Lobster Boy? Now, I remember moving to Tampa right around 2000, and there was a local show, and the guy called himself the Lobster Boy, and he was on local access, and people would just call him up. And it was bizarre public television, but maybe he was just a play on Lobster Boy. I don't really remember what he looks like. I just remember that he was called the Lobster Boy.
Well, and I think sadly he ended up murdering somebody, killing somebody his own family. Really kind of a tragic story, but yes, I think that was the same Lobster Boy. So, it's
I think this sounds like a documentary that needs to be made, Brad.
I think you're right.
Has anyone made because there'll be footage out there.
Oh yeah, plenty of it.
Imagine if that was him on the local talk show. We'd have footage. We'd have a great story.
We may have found our next project.
And we could feel the shame. We could feel the shame all over again. Our own personal shame of paying $1 to go walk around and gawk at the freaks.
Feel the shame in 2022. I like that. I think that might
sorry
work.
for that sidebar.
No. It's and the reason I brought this in is because I'm going to start putting my artwork out there, because got to do something for a living, right? Got to make.
Yeah.
I've decided I don't want to go work at a car wash. So if I don't work at a car wash, I want to do art. Huh? See?
I like it.
There's some logic in there somewhere. On the front page of FaithWire, this story, and I've not dug into it because I've heard about it for the past couple of days. The plane, the small plane that crashes onto a railroad track.
Unbelievable.
And then the pilot gets rescued. First of all, what happened with this? This is an amazing story to me.
Yeah, well, the pilot made an emergency landing, and I'm not sure what caused the emergency. I don't have that part of it right on off the top of my head. But so for whatever reason, he makes an emergency landing. One of these small planes, and he ends up landing on these tracks, which I guess was probably a safe move because a road has obviously more cars, everything else. So you go on the tracks, there's nothing there, it's flat. So he lands on the tracks, but he's stuck in there, obviously, hurt a little bit, can't get himself out. But now a train's coming, and I guess they haven't had enough time to radio the train to tell them to stop. And so this train is bearing down on them, and on the video there, which you can see in the article, it's like out of a movie. You wouldn't believe it if they put it in a movie. They pull him out of there, and probably just a couple seconds go by, and the train just comes by and flattens the plane.
Oh yeah, it's 2 seconds maximum.
That is unreal.
Yeah. They're like, go, 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 and they pull him out, and the train just flattens it. Because whenever I watch the movies, I'm like, come on, the train would have saw it, he would have at least been braking. No, this train is just.
It was like an Amtrak. Seriously, I mean, and it was
some kind of commuter train.
It was moving on, dude.
Well,
he was. Yeah.
Ironically,
he was not stopping. I don't know.
it was apparently it was an Antelope Valley Metro Link. As I used to live up there in the Antelope Valley, so I didn't realize this was right out there off of San Fernando Road. Okay, all right. So this is San Fernando Valley, and the this is the real. Well, it's North LA is basically what it is. And Pacoima.
Yes, it was North LA. They said
this.
The
Man,
foothills. Yeah.
I'm just the images of this are
what you've got is you've got body cam footage of the cops disconnecting this guy from his harnesses and stuff. The guy's face is bloody as hell, but they yank him out, and they probably get 6 to 10 feet away when the train hits.
Not far.
Yeah.
Not far. And I just can't, and like they had to see that train coming because obviously tracks are pretty straight.
I'm sure
look
they
down.
do it. Yeah.
You can look down, so they probably saw that train coming, and I just can't imagine that feeling. I mean, the instinct to just get out of there would have to be so strong.
Yeah.
When you know the train's coming, and because the cops are going to get mowed down too if they don't.
Wow.
If they stay there and can't get them out in time.
Wow.
So yeah, it's rare that you get to see that kind of heroism on display, and that is something. It was something else. It does take your breath away. It's terrifying
really
to think
does.
of, but just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the opposite to me of the boats in the water down in Brazil, where the half of the mountain falls off of them. This is the polar opposite of that. This guy, I mean, I can't even imagine what was going through his mind after first of all, you survive a plane, essentially a plane crash. And then the fact that there's a train barreling down right on top of you, after you've survived this, I don't know what the odds are, but I would imagine they are fairly significant. And like you said, the heroism of these cops to stop and put their own lives right there in harm's way. That really is. It does give you the warm fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
It's something straight out of a action movie. There's no question.
Yeah, it is.
And I hate to be the one to politicize it, but I'm pretty sure that a community resource officer maybe would be less likely to
Yes, I think you're right.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you laugh. I apologize.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I know, and I think that the other cities are starting to realize that too. I think you guys have probably covered that, but they're starting to go. You know what? Maybe having these cops is a good idea. Maybe having them around is kind of
strange,
kind of a net positive, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Well,
who would have thunk it?
So you see,
I don't want to be the one that's pulling. I mean, if I pulled up on that scene, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do.
I know I would not count on me to pull anybody out of a wreck. It happened one night. Strangely enough, I was driving back to the Antelope Valley, and it was probably around midnight coming back home from L.A. And as I was driving north on the 14 freeway, in front of me on the other side, I see this the headlights on a car coming toward me. Get squirrely, hit the median, and then the car proceeds to flip. And it was pretty intense. So the car that I'm seeing, again, it's maybe a quarter of a mile ahead of me. It's flipping a couple of times, comes to land on its top, and about that time I get up even with it, and I start to pull over to the side, and I'm thinking, I really don't want to go do this. I don't want to look. I don't want to see what's in there. I don't want to see what happened to them. But I start to get out, and at that time, a cop pulls up. California Highway Patrol, at least one of them, pulls up, and he goes over to the car. And I think, okay, thank you, because I'm not sure what would have happened if it had been on me. So
Brad's over there going, "You got it, you got it," because I was gonna get in there, but if you got it,
yeah. And that was
you good?
like, yeah.
All right, because I gotta go.
That's Brad. Yeah,
which is exactly. I think I was maybe 19 at the time, so maybe I'd be different now. But at the time, it was like, nope, don't want to see that. And I was okay, bye bye, I'm out of here. So they were very fortunate that the cops pulled up at that time.
Yeah.
And then I saw this story over on Dan Patrick.
Oh, my favorite story of the week.
What happened?
I mean, I know it's Tuesday, but
because I've not heard of this. What he left ESPN, but
Well, yeah, a few years ago. I mean, I mean, look, for those of you who aren't sports fans, Dan Patrick is he's basically a pillar. I mean, he is a legend at ESPN. I mean, he was, I hate to say it, but him and Keith Olbermann were sort of the two guys that made SportsCenter cool and made it like the biggest thing in the whole sporting world. They made it huge. They made sports commentary and reporting a thing. And so he was huge at ESPN. And so they had him doing all these shows. He was doing ESPN Radio. He was doing the Sports Center, doing special events, Super Bowls, whatever else they had. He was their main guy. You know, he was the number one guy basically there. And so when it came time, this is a few years ago now, it came time to do his contract renegotiation. And he said he was laser focused on it and just, okay, I've got this 5-year deal coming up. And he's basically going in to that week to sign the contract. And his wife goes out of nowhere. Hey, you sure you want to do this? You sure? You know, and I mean, this is probably an 8-figure deal. I mean, I would imagine easily, like 10 million plus a year.
Yeah.
So not small potatoes. And so he's not even thinking in another direction. So his wife says, well, the kids are going to be out of the house by the time you're done with this deal. And it just jarred him. Like he hadn't even thought of that, but his kids were, I think, 10 through 15. He's got 4 kids. And at that time they were aged like 10 to 15. And it just jarred him awake. It's like the slumber came off, you know, the veneer came off his eyes, you know, or whatever, the blindfolds came off. And so it just dawned on him. Yeah, maybe I don't want to. So he's thinking about this, goes in, and sitting at the desk, and the boss is like, do you want to take this deal or what? And he kind of assumed he was.
Right.
And so he paused and he said, no. And the guy goes, okay, I'm going to get the paperwork. And he goes, wait, you didn't hear me. I said no. And the boss is like, excuse me, what? And so he did. He just quit ESPN, quit a huge job. He put family first. And so he said it's something he doesn't regret at all. And he actually, thank God that he did do that, because he started, then he did a radio show, and he did it from his home, for a few years. So he does like the video. If you've ever watched it, he's got a little studio set up there. He's got a couple of producers in there with him. And so, so he's been doing this radio show for a couple of years now, but I'm sure he's doing well. I mean, it's not like he's poverty stricken, but I mean, it was a huge, he turned down a lot of money.
It's a big risk too. I mean, but
right.
You don't know, because you don't know what the future is going to hold. And when you've got a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush and all that, and you don't know what's going to happen if you step off that precipice, which sometimes you go on faith, which is what he did.
Well, and people worked. Yeah, and I think people just were so programmed to just think about the maximum we can get, or the most success we can get. And clearly the most money and the most prestige and the most fame and the most quote unquote successful job he could have had was at ESPN. I mean, he was going to get the most eyeballs, the most, the most reach, the most prestigious events that ESPN gets, Monday Night Football, whatever the case may be, the biggest things, he would be everywhere. And so I think when you see somebody do something counterculture that puts family first, I think that needs to be celebrated, because people are just so programmed to let's work to the max. And there's nothing wrong with working hard. I mean, I'm not dogging that, but I think there needs to be a balance there. If you're working to the max at the sacrifice of your family, because he was saying he was doing, now he just does his radio show.
Right.
And it's just the one show.
Right.
And so I'm sure he has a lot more time than he would have at ESPN. First of all, if he's still working at home, you got to drive an hour into work, drive an hour back. There's a couple hours right there. Obviously, they had him on multiple shows, multiple events, constantly traveling. He wouldn't have been there. He wouldn't have been there at all. And this was in the formative years for his kids, and doesn't regret looking back. So
I think that this may be, and I know this happened years ago, obviously, but I think that people are because of the pandemic and the the crap show that was the past 2 years. I think people are starting to wake up to this because we did there was a piece on 60 Minutes on Sunday, and they were discussing the fact that people are A, retiring early, B, people in their early 20s are choosing not to just put their every waking moment into a job, but are choosing to experience more of life. And I think that's what's happening when we see these wacky numbers out there of the unemployed, and, the jobs reports and all that, which always confuse me. But where is everybody going? Yeah, where are they going?
Yeah, where are they going?
But they're deciding that they're not going to be they're not going to get on the corporate treadmill and just walk or run until they die. I think that's hitting home more and more.
Because what are you gaining? What are you gaining? And I think, and even just basic things that we aren't really taught, for most of us aren't anyway, and they're certainly not taught in schools, but how to live on, if you're a married couple, how to live on one income, right? That's just something you don't think of when you're young and you're both working and you get married and you're like, oh, okay, well, let's go buy a house. And then you're like, well, what can we afford? Well, you make this and I make this, so we can afford this. And then you just go and buy what you can afford with that. And and I would always laugh on that on HGTV if you ever watch House Hunters. They'd be like, what's your budget? Well, it's 300,000, and then the first house they show them is 400, and 300,000 is my budget. How much you putting down? We're going to put 30,000 down. Right. They immediately show them a house that's 350,000. They add the down payment on top of their budget. And I was always looking at that going, wait a minute. That's not the down payment's supposed to just make that number. That's part of the budget, isn't it? Like, why did you just slap it on top? Yeah. So anyway, and I remember that first few houses we ever looked at, the real estate agent, forget what the budget was at the time. Let's just say it was 100,000. The first one they showed us was 200,000. And I remember thinking, like,
did you not hear me?
You heard me tell you the budget, right? You went double what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're just testing.
They just keep on. And then you just think, oh wow, I guess I can do that. Anyway, long story short, I think people are looking to set their lives up differently, looking to live with less debt. I think you're going to see less people go pushing to college with the prices that it's at right now.
Yep.
Go the Mike Rowe route, where you're going into the trades or some other industry where there's more demand, and you can make, these people that come out with these art history degrees and they're not finding jobs or not making any money, and then somebody goes and does some training to get a CDL or something like that, and they're making 70, 80, 90 grand a year.
Exactly.
So, and then you do that coupled with living on, the tiny houses is a good example of that. You see a lot of these. I saw another video on YouTube. Some college kid converted an old bus, a school bus. He converted it into like this really cool RV type thing. And he did it for, I think, 12 grand or something like that. He bought the thing, redid the inside.
I could do that. I couldn't do the tiny house, the house that is like 10 by 10.
That's too small.
Yeah,
that's too small.
That's just weird. But a bus,
same here.
I could do that.
But the idea, though, is simplicity. Whereas I think, that wouldn't have been, people would have gotten, I'm 6'3". I can't live in a tiny house. I'd be banging into everything. It would drive me nuts. I try to stretch and my arms wouldn't stretch out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like the idea of, okay, what can we get and live as close to debt free as we can? Let's have the Dave Ramsey roar, right?
Yeah. And this may be the one.
Misty loves freaking tiny houses and park models, dude. Ugh. I don't know why, but she wants to live in one, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Right now we have 4 freaking dogs.
Give her one for Christmas. She can keep it in the backyard. But this may be the one.
Well, here's how you do
one
it.
Positive thing that came out of all this.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you can do, Ron, there, if you want to go down, that they get the shipping container things that they redo.
Yeah, she's talked about
but
doing
you can stack like 3 of them next to each other or 2 of them next to each other. Then it's like, okay, you're just building a house now with all your shipping containers. But anyway, but you can simplify, and I like that idea of, okay, let's shift the narrative on how we structure our lives. And I think a lot of people are doing that. If you put a higher priority on lower debt and single income where you're flexible and you're not chained down to these jobs, it really changes things. And I think if you look at a lot of the problems in the country today, the media doesn't like to admit this. They like to call it systemic racism and everything else. But the family breakdown usually is a strong, corollary thing that's going on,
right,
when there's associated with all these problems. If you have a broken family, you're way more likely to have experienced one or more other problems of, kids getting into drugs or crime or whatever the case may be. So if you're spending less time grinding away at work from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m., not seeing the family, and you're actually with your family, well, then you have a better chance of having a stronger family and less problems. And, hopefully it's a sort of a, cumulative effect here that happens if more people start doing this. But
and
so
maybe
I like that trend, and I like that Dan Patrick story. So
it could be this. I mean, this literally could be the one good thing that comes out of this entire crap show of the past 2 years.
Yeah,
that people
that's
have,
true.
People decide to simplify their life. All right, Dan Andros over at faithwire.com, at Dan Andros, and of course, co-host of the podcast 4 and 3, as opposed
there
to
you
4
go.
plus 3, because that would be 7.
Right. Yeah.
4 and 3 podcast, and it's good to talk to you again this year, and we will do it again next week, buddy.
All right, keep getting better.
Thanks.
See you, Dan.
I'll try.
What do you mean it's let's go?
Sadly, it is the end of another 2 hours. Sorry. Of your Daily Mojo, of your sick fest for Tuesday, the 11th of January, year of our Lord 2022. My, how time flies. It just seems like it goes by in big chunks. Find out if any of the lessons have been sticky today. First, Oblivion Flickering over on the Twitter says, anyone explain why the cost of college goes up quicker than the cost of living, especially when the top colleges have huge trust funds? Harvard has $38 billion in the bank, but keeps raising tuition and room and board. And what's even sadder is that people keep paying it.
They do.
They keep paying it. They'll keep raising it
They'll
as long
pay
as
for
they
the
keep paying it.
prestige of the college.
Yeah, they will. Which again, colleges are right now on the precipice of falling into the
butt crack of time.
They're almost irrelevant anymore, but they're trying. Robin P. Jackhole, a new Saturday morning cartoon, Rape Ape. Timmy, have your mom put on your steel underwear before watching.
That's funny, Rape Ape.
It's time for Rape Ape. Oh, gosh. Pure Beaver says, we told a realtor what our max budget was. She said, you can afford a lot more. You're pre-qualified for X number of dollars. We said, maybe, but this is our comfort zone. They convince you to spend more than you're comfortable with just because the mortgage company will qualify you for it. You do. You have to, it's like...
and the commission is high.
Exactly. I mean, and real estate agents out there, they need love too. They're just trying to make a buck. You just got to stick to your guns. Coming up next across most of these Mojo 50 radio stations is, of course, the encore presentation of last night's award-winning episode of Abnormal Realities. Which
this started our conspiracy week. So last night was 9/11. We had Nancy Planetta and her husband Rafael Martinez. It was fantastic.
Oh, good.
You're going to love this show.
I will be listening to that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Your Daily Mojo is made possible, of course, by the disease-ridden fingertips of Royal Rod Phillips, spinning the dials radio style and spewing smeg all over the board. It's really kind of disgusting. Until next time, we the people, we must continue to hang together, or we shall surely hang separately. 6 for Tyrannus, resist stupid, all right? And good night, Doc.
Thank you. Good, wherever you are. See you. Bye. You threw me off, dude. Seriously.
I threw you off which part? By actually getting it in there, you mean?
By actually squeezing it in. I'm like, he's not going to say it. He's not going to say it. Oh, shit, he said it.
Damn straight he said it.
Good morning, Mojo 50. I'm Leprechaun, and here with the bell count for the Daily Mojo, Tuesday, November 11th, 2022. Today, there were no missed innuendo bells that I caught. One actual bell, I do believe, and a rim shot. Hope it's a great day, boys. Stay healthy. Peace out. We'll talk to you on the morrow.
Peace out.
I just, man, it's 2 hours and my voice just goes by.
Skookum. Skookum.
Spookum?
Skookum.
That's gross.
You like that?
I don't know.
It's actually a good descriptor for me.
Skookum.
Large, powerful, and impressive.
Skookum.
Yeah, but it's a scary word to have. Large,
Okay.
powerful, and impressive.
Well, then we're done.
Okay.
It's a wrap.
And there you go. Bye.
Jeez.